Alright folks, plan for the video is I'm going to be addressing the Strikemaster Lite Flite Wobble between the adapter and the shaft of the Lite Flite. This is a pretty hot topic right now. If you have a Lite Flite, there's a good chance you've experienced it. If you're looking into one, it's a good chance you've read it somewhere on the internet that there is a little bit of a wobble between the two. And in this video, I'm going to be addressing how I fix mine, how some other fix theirs, and if it's really, that much of a concern if you're looking at buying one. Alright folks, so let's get right into this. I'm going to start with my experience. The first time I had this on the ice, I did notice a little bit of a wobble after about 10 holes. I snugged everything up before we hit the ice for the first time, drilled about 10 holes, and at the end of the day, I noticed there was a little bit of a wobble. I weren't exactly sure where that wobble came from. I weren't sure if I missed it before we hit the ice or if something had backed out and loosened up. I weren't really sure exactly what the cause was. And when I got home, first thing I did, took my Allen key and tightened it about half a turn, which is about what that was right there, and it's been solid ever since. That's the only problem I've personally had with it, whether it loosened up a quarter or the metal in the seat here, flexed a little bit and allowed for about half a turn. But that's all I had to do to fix mine, was that right there, a half turn, and it's been solid since. And I'm probably, I don't know, well over 100 holes, and I haven't had this thing loosen once. So that's my experience. Mine was a pretty easy fix. And the next good way to fix this bolt from loosening up a little bit is using the blue Loctite. This is a really easy method. I had this stuff at home. If you don't have this at home, it's relatively inexpensive. But what you do is you just put some on the end of the threads, screw it in. Once this sets, this won't back out. So that's another good option. I know a lot of people are using that and having good results with it. And I actually am using this just to be a little extra safe. But I really don't feel like I needed it because I had good results with this staying tight after just retightening it that half turn. But that's a good option. If you have the blue Loctite, that's a great option. Another option people are doing, which I don't think I will do, but you can use that same style bolt, but buy one a little longer. And these are the socket cap screw. These are the M8 1.25 by 40 millimeter. I got these right at Home Depot, and I think it was like $1.50. And the nylon lock washer was like 50 cents. So this is another option some people are doing. You can go this route if you feel like it's a good option for you. You can take this bolt that's a little longer than the other one, screw this all the way through, so you can see how that's coming out a little bit at the end there. You just snug that up, and with this nylon lock nut, there's no way that's gonna work out. And once this is snugged in nice and tight, this is going to be completely solid in there. There's no way that's going to back out. So there you go. There's another good option. It's not an option I plan on using, just because I don't want to have to carry a wrench around. But if you feel like you want to go this route, it's certainly a good route to go. So we're going to get this off. I'm going to show you one other thing people are doing. They're putting a little bit of electrical tape on the adapter shaft. Again, I don't feel like I've needed to do that because mine's been, rock solid tight. But I have heard of people putting like one strip of electrical tape around the shaft here. I don't feel like I'm going to do that, but if you've gone through a few of these other options and you notice there's still a little bit of a play, putting one strip of electrical tape will probably take that out. All right, and one other thing that I've heard from actually probably a handful of people is you got to put this in from the right direction. If you look at the shaft of the Lite Flite, they're not the same. You see how there's no threads on this side? And you spin it over and you can see some threads. If you can't see it on the camera, and you have one, if you look at it, you can see the difference. No threads on this side, threads on this side. What you want to do is you want to put the bolt in from the non-threaded side and screw into the threaded side here. But I have had a few people start the screw from the threaded side, and it'll never tighten up enough that way. If you go in this way, again, this is the threaded side, it won't tighten up. Mine won't tighten up at all. All right, I'll just show you guys real quick what that would look like. All right, so I'm going in on the threaded side. I'm getting ready to tighten it up right now. And you're going up against this plastic housing, which isn't a good idea. You can see that's mega wobbly, and I'm not going to put a ton of pressure on it because I don't want to crack this housing. but that's pretty darn tight right there, and it's still super wobbly. So that's another thing to check too, is just make sure you're going through the right side. So I have had probably 5 or 6 people put it through the threaded side and it won't work. So you got to go in from the non-threaded side and screw into the threaded side, if that makes sense. All right, so we're going to get this snug back up. And just to finalize, guys, I just want to summarize a little bit. I've had this for a little over 2 months, like 2.5 months, and I'm probably 150 holes in, and I still love this auger. Does this wobble change my opinion on it at all? Absolutely not. I feel like it's an easy fix either way. I was able to fix this just with stuff I had at home. And like I said, mine was probably the easier of the fix. I just had to do a half turn, retighten, and it's been fine. I did put the Loctite on just for extra security, but probably didn't need to. So does this change my opinion? Absolutely not. Again, keep in mind, this is a first gen Lite Flite. I have no doubt they've either fixed this or are currently working on a better way. And my guess is they're probably just going to have the bolts come out with some type of Loctite on them. But that's just my guess. So if you're looking at getting into a Lite Flite and you're worried about the wobble, in my opinion, I wouldn't let it bother you one bit. Yours may not even wobble. I've heard some do, some don't. I forgot to mention that when I started the video, but I've heard some people not have a problem at all. So it may have been a batch of them, a small batch of them, the first round of them, who knows. But I wouldn't let it bother you. This is still an amazing auger. This will do side-by-side holes. This will reopen old holes. I have a couple videos on my channel, which I'll put at the end card, and I'll link them in the description if you guys want to see them. But this auger pretty much does it all. It's blazing fast. It's just over 5 pounds. And still I picked this up and I'm amazed how light it is. So just to summarize, guys, if you're looking at a Lite Flite, don't let the wobble talk bother you. It's a really easy fix. And if you have a Lite Flite and you're looking at ways to eliminate the wobble, hopefully one of them few worked. But if you guys have any further questions, feel free to ask. If you have any experiences with a Lite Flite and you want to share them, feel free to share them. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.